This video is for educational purposes only. It's not intended for anything more or less, and we will learn how to move in this type of situation. Woman and her co-worker set up her boyfriend and baby daddy in a fake break-in to cover up his murder. Shouts out to True Crime Stories HQ. Let's see what it's hidden for.
And you said he was shot and is he breathing?
No, I don't think so.
Alright, when did this happen?
Like 5 minutes ago.
Alright. And how many is injured? Is it just him?
Yes, that's him.
A woman who deputies say made a 911 call last month has been charged with her boyfriend's murder. The Lenoir County Sheriff's Office says Nyasia Perkins and Calvin Colley were arrested Wednesday and charged with first-degree murder and felony conspiracy in Quentin Gray's death. Deputies say both Perkins and Colley were arrested yesterday at their places of work in Kinston. Deputies won't say where that happened, but did confirm the two worked together. The 26-year-old woman lives in Lenoir County, while deputies say the 29-year-old man is from Goldsboro.
Oh, yeah. It seems like everybody around me keep leaving. Play with my feelings and I don't give them a reason. They take my heart and they break it all into pieces. It seems like everybody around me keep leaving. It seems like everybody around me keep leaving. Play with my feelings and I don't give them a reason. They take my heart and they break it all into pieces. Niggas get killed in this building, it's tragic. Gotta stay focused, you lose when you sleeping. Watch how I'm moving, I move with precision. All of these hoes be choosing and picking. Can't do how I do and I do how I did it. They not in my lane, no they not in my league. Ain't on my level, we cannot compete. We not together, you not on my team. Don't see no one better, like who hot as me.
It was just after midnight on December 8, 2024, when Lenoir County Dispatch received a 911 call. The voice on the other end was frantic, shaken, barely able to string together words between gasps of breath. A man had been shot. The caller, 26-year-old Nyasia Perkins, told the operator that she had been in bed when she heard gunshots. She said she hid her children under the bed, afraid of whoever was inside her home. Her boyfriend, 30-year-old Quentin Lee Gray, known to many by his rap name Hoodrich Montana, had been shot multiple times in the living room. The suspect? According to Nyasia, she had no idea who it was or where they had gone. But when first responders arrived, the scene didn't match her story. There were no signs of forced entry. No broken windows, no kicked-in doors. Just Quentin, lifeless on the floor, with his two young sons nearby. At first, it seemed like a tragic home invasion, a robbery gone wrong. But investigators quickly realized the story wasn't adding up. The inconsistencies, the missing details, and the way Nyasia carried herself in the days following the murder all pointed to something else. Something planned. What really happened that night in the quiet home on Sweet Amy Lane? How did a grieving girlfriend become the prime suspect in a brutal murder? And why was her co-worker, 29-year-old Calvin Colley, arrested alongside her just weeks later? Stay with us as we uncover the truth behind a case that sent shockwaves through Lenoir County, North Carolina, a case of betrayal, deception, and premeditated murder. Welcome to True Crime Stories HQ. If you love gripping real crime stories, subscribe and hit that notification bell because what we're about to reveal will leave you questioning everything. Quentin Lee Gray was a man with big dreams and even bigger responsibilities. At 30 years old, he was on a path that many in his community recognized, trying to balance the weight of ambition with the reality of fatherhood. To his friends and fans, he was Hoodrich Montana, a rising rapper in North Carolina, working hard to make a name for himself in an industry that doesn't hand out success easily. But to those who knew him best, he was simply Quentin, a devoted father, a hardworking man, and someone who made sure his family always came first.
So is this not the nigga that was in the mugshot though? Or they look alike?
I done came far, but I'm tryna go farther. I've been going hard, but I gotta go harder. I done came far, but I'm tryna go farther.
Bro, he ain't bad.
But I gotta go harder. I done came far, but I'm tryna go farther. I've been going hard, but I gotta go harder. I been came far, but I'm tryna go farther. I had to aim for the stars, cause I came from the block. I'm certified, they heard a lie, hit, they think that I'm not. Went from the bottom, now I'm ballin', now my name on the top. And I be shining, I got diamonds in my chain.
Quentin grew up in La Grange,
Yeah, he
North
ain't bad.
Carolina, a small town where everybody knew everybody. Life wasn't easy, but he never let that
Bro.
define him. From
A small town, everybody know everybody. I'm from a small town. Everybody know everybody. Them small towns is dangerous, bro. Straight up.
young age, he was drawn to music, rhythm, and storytelling, using his experiences to shape his lyrics. He had the voice, the drive, and the hunger, but more than that, he had two little boys depending on him. For Quentin, Gianni and Amiri were everything. Friends say he was the kind of father who was always present, playing outside with his boys, taking them places, making sure they knew they were loved. He didn't just talk about being a dad, he lived it. Even when money was tight and things got tough, he always made sure his children had what they needed. His goal wasn't just to make music, it was to create a better life for them. He spent long nights writing lyrics, recording tracks, and planning his next moves, hoping that one day his music would take off and provide him with the kind of success that would allow his family to thrive. But dreams can be fragile, and in a town where opportunities are scarce and struggles are plenty, Quentin knew that success wouldn't come easy. He stayed focused, kept grinding, and tried to avoid distractions. But some things you can't see coming, especially when they come from the person closest to you. His life with Nyasia Perkins, a relationship that wasn't what it seemed. Quentin had been in a relationship with Nyasia Perkins for years. Together, they had built a life in their quiet home on Sweet Amy Lane, raising their two boys under the same roof. From the outside looking in, they were a family just like any other. Social media showed happy pictures, loving captions, and birthday celebrations. Nyasia posted about their relationship, often calling Quentin her everything. But behind the carefully curated images, things weren't as perfect as they seemed. There were arguments, tensions that built over time, and issues that neither of them addressed openly. While Quentin focused on his music and his children, those close to him say the relationship was beginning to feel strained. There were whispers of jealousy, of resentment, of things unsaid but felt in every glance and every argument. Even so, Quentin stayed. He believed in family, in working through problems, in keeping things together for the sake of their boys. But Nyasia? She had other plans. And in the weeks leading up to his murder, her actions spoke louder than any words ever could.
So she got a side nigga. Or, like you said, they probably was, fell out or was going through it at this point in time. But regardless, it's another nigga. Now, was they still living with each other at this point in time? Or no? But he was over there and the boyfriend. That's tragic. That's tragic. I heard some shit like this. I can't speak too much. But I heard some shit just like this. Not just like this, but some shit like this not too long ago, bro. Yeah, it's crazy, bro. These women ain't good. This your baby daddy. Maybe the boyfriend just crashed out and did what he felt like he wanted to do. Not what but she set it up though. It's your baby daddy.
Things together for the sake of their boys. But Nyasia? She had other plans. And in the weeks leading up to his murder, her actions spoke louder than any words ever could. She wasn't grieving the loss of a relationship. She was planning something else entirely. Quentin didn't know it, but his fate had already...
I heard something like, when a woman is done, she's mentally broke up with you like 6 months ago, bro. And that should be true. That should be true, bro. She was already done before you knew it. She was just waiting on her next nigga. She was just lining up her next play. She was just getting prepared to leave. Whole time she been done. That'd be real, bro.
Actions spoke louder than any words ever could. She wasn't grieving the loss of a relationship. She was planning something else entirely. Quentin didn't know it, but his fate had already been sealed. And the person responsible for it slept just a few feet away. It was just after midnight when the Lenoir County Sheriff's Office received a frantic 911 call. The voice on the line was Nyasia Perkins. Shaking, panicked, breathless.
And is he breathing?
No, I don't think so.
Alright, when did this happen?
Like 5 minutes ago.
Alright. And how many is injured? Is it just him?
Yes, it's just him.
Alright, and how many suspects were involved?
I don't know, sir. I was there with my bed and I just heard gunshots. I
Alright,
put them under the bed.
where is that suspect at now? Do you know?
No, sir.
A child could be heard crying in the call's background. Now, neighbors told WITN that Gray was the father of 2 boys. The woman who told 911 that she didn't know where Gray was shot as he was lying on his stomach. Now, deputies have yet to release any information on a suspect or a possible motive.
The call lasted less than 2 minutes. A desperate plea for help, a scene of chaos unfolding. But when authorities arrived at the house on Sweet Amy Lane, what they found didn't match Nyasia's story. Quentin Lee Gray lay motionless in the living room,
So did she call the police or was that a neighbor?
shot multiple times, blood pooling beneath him, his body positioned unnaturally as if it had been staged. His 2 sons, Gianni and Amiri, just children, were still inside the house. Deputies swept the home, searching for any sign of an intruder, any sign of a break-in, a struggle, a forced entry. But there was nothing. No broken windows, no doors kicked in, no sign of anyone forcing their way inside. The only people in the house were Nyasia and the 2 boys. From the start, something felt off to investigators. Nyasia was shaken but composed. She answered their questions, but her story had gaps, pauses where they shouldn't
Bro,
have
some
been.
people just deserve to go to jail forever. Cause how stupid are you? Some people just do it to themselves, bro. How stupid are you? You know she's gonna tell. Because she didn't pull the trigger, she feel like she can tell so she can get a little less time. It's not gonna work in your favor. You're getting cooked. Your life is over. All you did was ruin them kids' life.
Details that seemed uncertain. She claimed she had been asleep in bed with her children when she heard the shots.
Asleep in bed.
She didn't see who did it.
Right.
She didn't know where they went. And yet, there were no footprints leading away from the house. No signs of anyone running. No missing valuables. Whoever shot Quentin had been let inside. Or maybe they had never left. The next day, Nyasia took to social media. Her first posts were filled with grief, words of loss, of love, of heartbreak. It's about that time, bae. I'm glad I gave you your flowers while you were here. I love you. Thank you for everything. Me, Gianni, and Amiri love you.
When it came time to take things to the next level, I knew that I had to make a website, and Wix.
I wish this never happened to you, Hoodrich, Montana. Friends and family flooded the comments. Condolences. Shock. Questions. But then, just 2 days later, something changed. Her tone was no longer one of mourning, it was anger, control, exclusion. Everybody that think they going to be at Hoodrich, Montana service y'all not. He only F *** ed with a few and they know who they are. The shift was sudden, almost as if her focus had moved away from loss and onto something else. People started to question it. Was this grief? Or was this guilt? Why was she so quick to take control of his memorial, shutting people out? Why did her words sound more defensive than mournful? The people who knew Quentin best, his friends, his family, the ones closest to him, couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. And as investigators continued digging, they would soon uncover a truth that no one was prepared for. From the moment police arrived at the crime scene, something didn't sit right. Nyasia Perkins had painted a picture of a terrifying home invasion, a random act of violence that had left her boyfriend dead and her children hiding in fear. But the evidence told a different story. No forced entry, no broken locks, no shattered glass. Whoever pulled the trigger didn't force their way inside. They were let in. The crime scene was too controlled. There were no signs of a struggle, no furniture overturned, no chaos. Just Quentin's lifeless body in the living room, positioned too perfectly for an ambush. The murder weapon was missing. In a typical break-in gone wrong, a suspect would flee quickly, often leaving behind some form of evidence. Here, the killer had time. As investigators pressed Nyasia for more details, her story started shifting. She had been in bed with her children when the gunshots rang out. She didn't see anything. She didn't know who did it. But then her timeline didn't match up. Investigators reviewed her phone records, security footage, and social media activity leading up to the murder. And what they found changed everything. Nyasha had been in contact with someone before and after the shooting. A man who had no reason to be involved in Quentin's life. A man with his own history of violence. A man named Calvin Coley. Who is Calvin Coley? When detectives ran Calvin Coley's name through their system, the pieces began falling into place. 29 years old. A coworker of Nyasha's. A man with a violent past. This wasn't just any man from Kinston, this was a man with a history of gun violence. Back in March 2020, Coley was involved in a shooting in Goldsboro that left 4 people injured. He had been arrested and charged with attempted murder firing into an occupied dwelling. He was a man comfortable with a gun, a man who knew how to pull the trigger and walk away. The question was, why was he involved in Quentin's—
Nigga shot at a house or something, bro. Nigga shot at a house. He shot at a dwelling. That's a house. A unit.
murder. Was this
nigga shooting at nigga?
It's a love affair turned deadly? Was this about money? Revenge? A setup? Or had Nyasha and Calvin conspired together, 2 co-workers who saw an opportunity to eliminate Quentin and start fresh?
That was her side nigga, bro. They was living together, bro. They had to have been living together, bro. And this is her side nigga co-worker, bro. And they start arguing or whatever. This video, I don't think said nothing about him ever putting his hands on her or nothing like that. Like, they ain't had no history of that. I don't know if they did or not. You know, maybe she got tired of that. I don't know, bro. Can't trust him. But, you know, that doesn't tell who he was as a man necessarily, as far as, like, to her in a relationship and how he treated her type shit. You know, but what?
Deeper authorities dug, the more suspicious the connection became. Phone calls, text messages, a pattern of communication that didn't belong. This wasn't just a case of wrong place, wrong time. This was something planned, and investigators were about to uncover just how deep this conspiracy ran. For weeks, investigators had been watching, listening, piecing together the truth. Every call, every inconsistency, every lead pointed in the same direction. Then on January 15, 2025, police made their move. At her place of employment in Kinston, Nyasha Perkins was taken into custody. It happened quietly, efficiently, no warning, no time for her to prepare. One moment, she was at work. The next, she was being escorted out in handcuffs, surrounded by officers. Across town, Calvin Coley's arrest wasn't as smooth. Police tracked him down at his workplace. When they arrived, he tried to avoid them, slipping into a storage area behind stacked pallets of inventory. But it was useless. Detectives cornered him, cuffed him, and let him out into the cold January air. 2 arrests.
You cannot miss this. Let's go. Put your hands together.
2 suspects. And now Lenoir County had its answers. Both Nyasha Perkins and Calvin Coley were officially charged with first-degree murder felony conspiracy. They were transported to the Lenoir County Jail, where they were ordered held without bond. The community reacted with shock, disbelief, and outrage. Quentin's family had suspected something was off, but now the truth was undeniable. The woman who once claimed to love him, the mother of his children, the person who stood over his casket crying for the world to see she hadn't just lost him.
Ain't no come with all this hate, but fuck that shit, I'm still gon' grind. Who would ever thought that I'd be great? Who would ever thought that see me shine? Ain't even know come with all this hate, but fuck that shit, I'm still gon' grind. Who would ever thought that I'd be great? Who would ever thought that see me shine? Ain't even know come with all this hate, but fuck that shit, I'm still gon' grind. Who would ever thought that I'd be great? Who would ever thought that see me shine? Ain't even know come with all this hate, but fuck that shit, I'm still gon' grind. I said I'm back and I'm better, but I'm still strapped with that metal. Either a Glock or Beretta, got a vendetta, feeling like Blanca Griselda. These niggas not on my level, I cannot settle. I keep my foot on the pedal, catch up to me, I can't let them. All I can tell them, it's gonna go down with whoever.
She had orchestrated his murder. Investigators had spent weeks building their case, and the details painted a picture that was far from a random home invasion. Surveillance footage contradicted Nyasha's story. Security cameras in the neighborhood picked up movements that didn't match her timeline. No unknown suspects fleeing the scene. No cars peeling away in the night. Nothing to support the story of an intruder. Phone records revealed something even more damning. Nyasha and Calvin had been in contact multiple times before the murder, calls, texts, messages leading up to that night. And then, after Quentin was dead, another exchange, as if confirming the job was done. Forensic analysis told the final piece of the story. The gunshots weren't random or chaotic. They weren't fired in a struggle. They were precise, deliberate, execution style. Quentin never had a chance. The story of a home invasion had been a lie. Nyasha hadn't been asleep in bed when it happened. She had been waiting. And Calvin? He had been pulling the trigger. As the case made its way to court, one question remained. Was this a murder for money? A crime of passion? Or something even deeper? The truth was coming, and there was nowhere left to hide. The morning of January 16, 2025, the Lenoir County courtroom was packed. The air was heavy, tense, silent, except for the occasional whisper from the crowd, family, reporters, neighbors who had come to see justice unfold. At exactly 9, Nyasha Perkins and Calvin Coley were led into the courtroom, shackled at the wrists and ankles. Nyasha's face was blank, her once public displays of grief now replaced with something colder, emptier. Calvin, the man accused of pulling the trigger, barely looked up. Then came the moment that everyone had been waiting for. The charges were read aloud. First-degree murder, felony conspiracy. If convicted, both Nyasha and Calvin could face life in prison without parole. Prosecutors wasted no time laying out the damning evidence. The phone records, the surveillance footage, the forensic analysis, the inconsistencies in Nyasha's 911 call, the cold, calculated nature of Quentin's murder.
She called the police, bro.
They argued was not a crime of impulse.
Wasn't even crying. People just do it to themselves, bro.
It was premeditated, planned, a setup. But when the judge
don't cry when you do some dumbass shit. Kill your baby daddy in the house that y'all live in with your side nigga, and you get cooked. Don't cry.
If they had any
feel how you feel when you did what you did. You feel me? Don't cry about it after you get cooked.
Statements. Any response to the overwhelming evidence, they said nothing. No plea, no explanation, no denial, just silence. Nyasha's family sat quietly, their faces expressionless. No one reached for her. No one wept for her. But Quentin's loved ones? They were seething with pain, anger,
don't nobody care
and
about
an
that
unshakable
hoe?
sense of betrayal. His mother wept in the front row. His friends shook their heads in disbelief. And his 2 young sons, the ones who had been in the house that night, were left without a father. Nyasha had taken away the man who loved them the most. And for what?
That's crazy,
The community
bro.
reacts. News of the arrests and court hearings spread fast. Quentin had been well known, not just in his neighborhood, but throughout Kinston and La Grange. His fans, his friends, even strangers who had followed his music, they all had the same question.
R.I.P. Hood
Why?
Rich.
In America, we tend to pursue longevity by looking for pills or supplements or superfoods. But
Why would Nyasha orchestrate the murder of a man she had shared a life with? Why would she post tributes online, only to be exposed as the one behind his death? And Calvin, what did he gain from this? There were rumors, speculation. Was this about money? A new relationship? A debt unpaid? But one thing was certain, Quentin was gone. His children were now fatherless. His dream of success had been stolen. And the case wasn't over yet.
Title said
Authorities
boyfriend.
hinted at the possibility of more suspects, suggesting that someone else knew more than they were letting on. As the trial loomed ahead, the public braced for more revelations, more
And that's
lies.
crazy, bro. How you set up your baby daddy and now you on the gram, on Facebook, talk about Burgundy for you, watch over us, we love you, until we meet again. That nigga gonna haunt you. He gonna see you real soon. In that prison cell, he in there with you. Yeah. For the rest of your life, and that bitch cooked.
Uncovered.
That's crazy.
Hopefully, justice for a man who had trusted the wrong person. But the truth? It was still unraveling, and the story was far from over. Betrayal is a wound that cuts deeper than any bullet. Quentin Lee Gray trusted the woman he built a life with, the mother of his children, the person who once stood by his side. But in the end, she wasn't his protector. She was his downfall. His life was taken in cold blood, not by a stranger, but by someone who knew exactly how much he had to lose. Now, his two sons are left fatherless, growing up with the knowledge that their mother was behind the tragedy that tore their family apart. His family grieves, his friends seek answers, and his community is left questioning how something like this could happen. What drives someone to commit such a cold and calculated betrayal? Was this planned from the very beginning, or did something push Nyasia and Calvin over the edge? We want to hear your thoughts. Do you think justice will be served?
It probably pushed her over the edge, and she was probably fucking with him, or she was probably fucking with dude from work. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, it could be something deeper to it. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man.
Do you believe there are more pieces to the story waiting to be uncovered? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want more gripping true crime stories like this one, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because the truth isn't always what it seems. And sometimes the most dangerous people are the ones you trust the most.
Big facts, man. Hey, man, shouts out to True Crime Stories HQ. We might have to tap in with another one. I'm fucking with it. Hey, if y'all fucking with it, the video, make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe button, turn on notifications. If you made it to the end of this video and you bored, check out this video to the left, or check out my music to the right. Just drop some new shit, all platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, all that good shit. I get at you on the next one, though, man, and I'm gone. TYP the 9.
TYP the 9, you know that this the way of life. I ain't never raped the gang, but I feel like gang tie. I've been really pushing P, put the P in TYP, that nigga.